On the day of my beloved mother's funeral, my sister-in-law callously remarked, "I overslept, so I'm skipping the funeral." It was a cruel twist after she had coerced my frail mother into spending nearly $200,000 on a new house. Suppressing my outrage, I managed to respond, "Fine, but you'll regret this decision, sis." "I regret nothing. Have a good one," came her dismissive reply before she hung up. After the funeral, when I confronted my brother with something, even his typically gentle demeanor turned to anger. "Lisa, I need your help. We're going to make her pay," he said, his voice laced with fury. My name is Lisa. At 28 years old, I'm single with a fulfilling job that keeps me busy every day, but I'm holding up well despite the challenges. Today, a weekend and a rare day off from work, I returned home to my mother's house after a long absence. "Hi, Mom. How have you been?" I greeted her warmly. "Welcome back, Lisa. I'm glad to see you," she replied with a gentle smile. We sat together, sipping tea and catching up. My mother has always been kind, gentle, and elegant. It's been a few years since my father passed away, leaving her to live alone. Both Dad and I have always worried about her health because of her frailty. On my days off, I make it a point to visit her and spend time together. "Mom, has anything troubling happened recently?" I asked, sensing there might be something on her mind. "Well, there's something," she began, her expression growing serious. Just as my mother was about to speak, the doorbell chimed. "Oh, that must be Stephanie," I remarked. "Stephanie? Was she expected today?" my mother questioned. "Not exactly, but she drops by like this from time to time. I'll go see," I replied, heading towards the door. Stephanie is my older brother's wife, and they recently tied the knot. She's my sister-in-law, a lively contrast to my quiet and easygoing brother. Despite finding her spontaneous visits a tad intrusive, I appreciate her genuine concern for our mother. "Hello, everyone. Lisa, it's been ages," Stephanie exclaimed cheerfully as I opened the door. "Hi, Stephanie." "Yes, it has been a while," I replied, welcoming her inside. "Lisa, you're still consumed by work, aren't you? You're in accounting, right?" "Personally, I could never handle it. I'm always swamped with housework. It would be nice if you settled down soon too," my sister-in-law remarked. "Yeah, maybe," I replied noncommittally. My sister-in-law appeared timid around my mother, but occasionally she'd slip in these passive-aggressive comments directed at me. I wasn't sure if she meant any harm, but they always left me feeling uneasy. "It sounds like my sister-in-law is here, so I should head off now," I announced as I prepared to leave. "All right, Lisa, let's catch up more next time," my mother replied warmly as she saw me out. I couldn't shake the feeling that there might be tension between Mom and my sister-in-law. Mom never spoke ill of others, so I worry she might be holding something back. Despite my concerns, I bid farewell and headed home. A few months later, Mom informed me that my brother was constructing an elaborate new house. "Huh, my brother makes a decent income, but he's not exactly wealthy, right? And my sister-in-law is a full-time homemaker. How can they afford to build such a house?" I questioned. "Well, I actually helped him out a bit with some money from your father's inheritance," my mother admitted. "How much is a bit?" I pressed. "About $20,000, I suppose," she replied calmly. "20K, Mom, are you serious?" I exclaimed, unable to hide my surprise. My late father had raised both my brother and me to be independent once we reached adulthood, so I couldn't understand why my mother would give away such a large sum of money. "Well, Stephanie, your sister-in-law came over almost every week, pleading for help. And besides, Andrew and Stephanie promised to take care of me since we'll all be living together." I couldn't refuse, my mother explained, her voice tinged with hesitation. "If you're okay with it, Mom, but are you sure this isn't too much?" I asked, concerned. "No, not at all. This will ease your worries and make life simpler for you, Lisa. I'm actually looking forward to this new chapter," Mom said with a smile. Later, they completed construction on their new home, and my brother, his wife, and Mom began living together. When I visited to bring the housewarming gift, I was astonished by the luxurious house. A modern-style kitchen and bathroom, expensive-looking interiors with pure wood, and a spacious backyard. It was clear my brother couldn't afford all this on his own. Proudly, my sister-in-law gave me a tour of the house. Afterward, I pulled my brother aside. "Congratulations on your new house, Andrew. Please take good care of Mom," I said quietly. "Thanks, Lisa." Don't worry, Stephanie will take care of Mom while I'm at work. I felt guilty about Mom offering to help, but we're determined to make her even happier now, he assured me. It appears my brother was unaware that his wife had been repeatedly visiting our mom to ask for money for their new house. He's generally good-natured and kind, but his obliviousness concerns me at times. All right, just make sure you look after her, I reminded him. Of course, leave Mom to us and focus on your work, he replied. Let's not talk about work, I quickly corrected myself. Oops, sorry about that. After our conversation, I handed him an envelope containing some cash and a standing clock. This clock also monitors health, so please place it where Mom can see it in the living room, I explained. Thanks. This clock is pretty advanced, huh? It should be good for Mom. And it looks stylish too. Let's place it here, my brother agreed, setting the clock on a shelf in the living room. I should head home now. Take care, I said, preparing to leave. My sister-in-law was occupied with a phone call in another room as I departed the grand house, with my mother and brother seeing me off. 6 months passed peacefully, during which my concerns about Mom lessened as she seemed to be settling in well with my brother and his wife. I focused on my work, assuming these days would continue indefinitely, until the unexpected news of Mom's passing reached me. When my brother returned home from work, he discovered that our mother had passed away alone in her room. The doctors later explained at the hospital that her pre-existing heart condition, aggravated by overexertion, likely caused her death. Mom, why so suddenly? I wish I had come home earlier. I'm sorry, I lamented, overwhelmed with grief. My brother and I held on to our mother's lifeless form, tears streaming down our faces. Stephanie, my sister-in-law, was noticeably absent. Brother, where's Stephanie? Wasn't she supposed to be here? And what do they mean by overwork? I asked, my voice trembling. Stephanie wasn't here. As for overwork, he began, struggling to find the words. I'm not sure either. Stephanie took care of all the household chores, so this doesn't make any sense, my brother admitted, sounding perplexed. Despite my unease, I interjected, first, we need to arrange our mother's wake and funeral. Andrew, you'll likely need to lead the arrangements as the chief mourner. You're right, Lisa, could you assist me? He asked. And so, my brother and I dove headfirst into organizing the memorial service. It was a whirlwind of preparations, selecting a venue, outlining the schedule, notifying guests, and more. Somehow, we managed to complete the wake, and the following day was the funeral. While my brother and I were occupied greeting visitors, my sister-in-law sat passively, not lifting a finger or shedding a tear. Despite my growing frustration with her behavior, the hectic pace of the day kept me from addressing it directly. Andrew, tomorrow is the funeral, and as the chief mourner, you're going to be quite busy. Why don't you and Stephanie head home for a while? I'll stay here, I suggested. Yeah, Lisa, that would be helpful. Thank you, my brother replied gratefully. They departed together, leaving me alone in the now empty room. I retrieved my work laptop and began to focus on tasks. That night, sleep eluded me. The following morning, on the day of the funeral scheduled for 10 a.m., I met Andrew at 6 a.m. to commence preparations. We were inundated with tasks, reviewing Andrew's eulogy, meeting with the funeral director, and ensuring everything was in order. Around 9:30 a.m., I received a call from Stephanie, as my brother had mentioned she would arrive later for the funeral. Hello, Lisa. I'm calling because Andrew wouldn't answer his phone, Stephanie said. Okay, Aunt, I replied, sensing tension in her voice. I overslept. I won't be able to make it to the funeral, she confessed. Struggling to maintain composure, I replied evenly, all right, but you might regret this, Stephanie. I doubt it. Anyway, I know you're busy. Hang in there, Stephanie said before hanging up abruptly. Was that Stephanie just now? My brother asked as he approached. Yeah, she overslept and won't be coming today, I informed him with disappointment in my voice. Ha! What is she talking about? It's our mother's funeral, Andrew exclaimed in disbelief. Let's focus on the funeral for now, Andrew. I have something important to show you afterward, I said firmly. We somehow made it through the funeral together, paying our final respects to our mother. Stephanie was conspicuously absent, leaving us both puzzled and frustrated. Lisa, what did you want to show me? Andrew asked as we found a moment alone. Come, take a look at this, I replied, opening my laptop. Confused, Andrew leaned in to see the screen, which displayed the living room of his house. I explained, "This is the clock I gave you as a gift. It has a camera installed, designed for monitoring elderly relatives or pets. I gave it because I was worried about Mom, but since she seemed fine, I never checked it until yesterday. I reviewed the footage from the past week. Here it is," I said quietly, opening several videos on my laptop. My brother watched them intently, his expression tense. The footage revealed our mother being harshly treated by my sister-in-law. "I'm taking care of you, so at least do your chores properly." Stephanie's voice came through the video as she assigned all household tasks to our mother, from cooking and laundry to cleaning. The scenes showed our frail mother being pushed to exhaustion. While she toiled, Stephanie would often dress up and leave the house. In moments captured on video, our mother could be seen clutching her chest in discomfort, reaching for her phone hesitantly but ultimately deciding against making a call. Mom couldn't bring herself to tell us about how Stephanie treated her. "She always wanted us to be happy, you know, Mom." I had no clue. Please forgive me. Both my brother and I were in tears, overwhelmed by the memories of our mother. "Lisa, can we watch the footage from the day Mom passed away?" my brother asked, his voice heavy with emotion. "I haven't viewed it myself, but Mom passed away in her room, so I'm not sure if there's any footage of her," I explained, setting the recording to the date of our mother's passing. As we watched, after completing her morning routine, our mother was seen clutching her chest as she made her way to her room. They said she passed away around 2 p.m. The living room remained empty for a while, but as we fast-forwarded the recording, Andrew spoke up. "Hey, look at this. Stop and turn up the volume," Andrew exclaimed urgently. Around noon, my sister-in-law appeared on the camera feed. As we increased the volume, her voice became clear. "Hey, mother-in-law, mother-in-law." Stephanie called out towards my mother's room. When there was no response, she appeared to assume that our mother wasn't home. She then sat down on the sofa and made a phone call. "Hello? Thanks for being there earlier. It looks like the old lady has left without finishing her chores. I wonder what she's up to," Stephanie remarked casually over the phone. It appeared she was speaking to someone she had been with since morning. As I listened to the call's harsh content, I couldn't help but grimace. My sister-in-law continued her conversation. "What if she's dead? That would be something. Then again, I could skip the funeral and maybe go on a trip with Daniel. Opportunities like these don't come around often," she remarked, shocking both my brother and me. The person on the other end of the line was evidently my sister-in-law's lover. Wouldn't it be great if that really happened? I could fabricate a story about domestic abuse from my husband, secure a hefty divorce settlement, and buy this house. Then Daniel and I could live here together. "So where would you like to go on our trip?" "That's enough," Andrew interrupted sharply. I paused the video, my heart pounding. My usually gentle brother's face hardened, his voice thick with anger. "Lisa, I need your help. We're going to confront her," he declared firmly. I nodded in agreement and immediately made a phone call. The next day, Andrew phoned me while I was at home. "Lisa, she's back. Can you come over?" he asked urgently. "I'm on my way," I replied, hurrying to my brother's house without delay. "Well, hello, Lisa. What brings you here on such short notice?" "You really should have given me a heads up." Stephanie greeted me with a hint of irritation as she came out to meet me. "Andrew asked me to come." "Follow me," I said, leading the way into the house filled with the scent of incense. My brother, sister-in-law, and I gathered around the dining table. "What's all this about? You both look so serious." "I do feel bad about missing the funeral," Stephanie remarked casually. "Stephanie, since you moved in, you've been treating Mom like a servant, haven't you? You've even made her pay $20,000 for the new house, despite her being ill." I confronted her directly. "What? That's ridiculous. I did all the housework. Are you trying to start something?" Stephanie retorted defensively. "Everything has been recorded, Stephanie. I'm not actually an accountant. I'm a private investigator," I revealed, surprising both my sister-in-law and my brother. It was a secret I had kept from everyone except Andrew. I pointed to the surveillance camera hidden in the living room clock and showed her the footage on my phone. The video clearly showed our mother doing household chores under Stephanie's orders. "What? This is a violation of my privacy. How could you do this?" "Delete it immediately," Stephanie protested angrily. "I installed it as the homeowner. I have every right to do so. It's not a violation of privacy," Andrew responded calmly but firmly. "What's going on here?" And why are you suddenly talking about being a private investigator? Stephanie's voice trembled, a realization dawning on her. Andrew silently dialed his phone. Soon, the audio of Stephanie's earlier phone call began to play. I might just skip the funeral and go on a trip with Daniel, and maybe fabricate some story about domestic abuse for my husband to get a big divorce settlement, the recording revealed. Stephanie's face turned pale as the truth sank in. No, this isn't what it looks like. Please let me explain, she pleaded desperately. What's the difference? Explain yourself, Andrew demanded, his tone cutting through the tension in the room. My sister-in-law stammered, trying to concoct excuses. He's just a friend. We were joking. There's no cheating going on here, right? Where's the evidence? But there is, I stated calmly, laying out several photos on the table. Each one depicted Stephanie and another man, leaving a resort together, being intimate in their car, and entering a hotel upon their return, undeniable proof of infidelity. What? How did you get these? Stephanie gasped, her face draining of color. You discussed it over the phone, remember? You planned your trip and how you'd spend the night together. I had someone from our company take these photos, I explained firmly. Stephanie recoiled in shock. How could you do this, especially during our mother's funeral? As I calmly laid out the situation, Stephanie's composure began to crack. Oh, enough. What's wrong with all of you? She exclaimed, her voice rising in frustration. There's no way we can continue this marriage, Stephanie, Andrew stated firmly. We're getting a divorce and I'll be seeking alimony. You'll need to move out of this house. Excuse me. Stephanie's disbelief was palpable, causing Andrew and me to exchange a knowing glance. What do you mean? Stephanie demanded, her tone tinged with defiance. I mean, in a divorce, the guilty party often pays compensation, Andrew clarified. What? Stephanie gasped, her earlier confidence faltering as the reality of the situation sunk in. Clearly, you're even more foolish than I realized. It's pathetic. As Lisa said, I'll be seeking alimony from you and your lover, Andrew declared firmly. What? Stephanie's voice trembled with disbelief. And I'm telling you to leave. Don't come back, Andrew continued, his tone resolute. No, this can't be happening, Stephanie protested weakly. I handed Stephanie her suitcase, which she took silently, still in shock. I escorted her to the door and closed it behind her. Turning back to Andrew, I gently placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. 6 months later, my brother's divorce from my former sister-in-law was finalized. She contested it in mediation, but the evidence my brother presented left little room for argument. It also came to light that she had been recklessly spending from their joint bank account. According to my brother, the divorce settlement ended with minimal division of assets. True to his word, Andrew pursued alimony from both his ex-wife and her lover. The lover, who had planned to live off the substantial alimony from Andrew, was outraged by the unexpected claim and promptly ended the relationship with Stephanie. With no place to go and abandoned by her lover, my ex-sister-in-law now resides alone in an old apartment, making ends meet with part-time work. My brother went through a tough time. He eventually sold the house, feeling disillusioned with marriage, and now lives alone. Seeing him struggle with loneliness, I've been considering introducing him to a kind woman I met through work recently. She's also divorced, so I think they might connect well. With that in mind, I head out today, focus on my work once more.